The Secret Service seized a network capable of shutting down New York City's cell service. Apple TV Plus indefinitely delayed its domestic extremism thriller, The Savant. And Microsoft claimed a breakthrough in AI chip cooling. It's Wednesday, September 24th, and here's a quick look at tech in the news this morning from Engadget. The Secret Service said it thwarted a telecommunications cyber op in New York City. On Tuesday, the agency announced that it seized a network of SIM servers. It was capable of jamming cell towers, conducting DDoS attacks, and enabling encrypted communications. The discovery came ahead of world leaders gathering for the UN General Assembly this week. The network, reportedly discovered in August, was extensive and sophisticated. It included over 300 SIM servers and 100,000 SIM cards across multiple sites. A Secret Service official told the New York Times that it was powerful enough to send 30 million anonymous text messages per minute. Photos provided by the Secret Service show racks of SIM and antenna-laden servers. Special Agent Matt McCool said this network had the potential to disable cell phone towers and essentially shut down the cellular network in New York City. He said an early analysis points to communications between at least one foreign country and individuals that are known to federal law enforcement, which reportedly includes cartel members. McCool added that due to the sensitivity and complexity of the investigation, he could not go into specifics. Cybersecurity researcher James A. Lewis told the New York Times that only a handful of countries were capable of pulling that off, including Russia, China, and Israel. Another security expert, Anthony J. Ferranti of FTI, said the network could have also been used for eavesdropping. "My instinct is this is espionage," he said. Secret Service officials told the New York Times that there was no specific information that the network posed a threat to the UN conference. Regardless, the confiscated devices were concentrated within a 35-mile radius of the assembly. The agency is responsible for security at the gathering. McCool added that this is an open and active investigation, and the Secret Service will continue to run down all leads until they finally understand the intent of the operation and identify those responsible. Apple has delayed the release of its new series, The Savant, just 3 days before it was supposed to premiere on September 26th. That's according to a Deadline report. The series follows an investigator, played by Jessica Chastain, who infiltrates a domestic extremist group in the U.S. Apple has not provided a new release date for the show. The company said in a statement, "After careful consideration, we have made the decision to postpone The Savant. We appreciate your understanding and look forward to releasing the series at a future date." Now, the timing of the sudden delay and the lack of explanation for why the company is delaying the show could be telling. Disney made a similar knee-jerk reaction in placing Jimmy Kimmel Live on indefinite hiatus following a joke Kimmel made about the reaction to the killing of right-wing activist Charlie Kirk. Kimmel returned to the air last night. Given that The Savant likely focuses on preventing acts of political violence, it might make you wonder who Apple is worried its show will offend. But it's also entirely possible that the company is trying to avoid people making any kind of association between its TV show and a very public assassination. Apple generally avoids rocking the boat whenever possible, particularly when it could hurt its business interests. The problem with Jon Stewart was reportedly canceled when Stewart wanted to cover topics Apple deemed controversial, like China and artificial intelligence. Apple does business in China, so it seems likely the company was skittish about airing anything that could be viewed as criticism, even if having difficult conversations was the premise of Stewart's show. Despite reading like the company is worried about offending right-wing extremists, the decision to pull The Savant was likely made from a similar place of caution. AI is an enormous energy drain, contributing to greenhouse gas emissions at a time when the planet desperately needs progress in the opposite direction. Although most of that comes from running GPUs, cooling them is another significant overhead. So it is worth noting when a company of Microsoft's stature claims to have achieved a breakthrough in chip cooling. Microsoft's new system is based on microfluidics, a method long pursued but hard to implement. The company claims its approach could lead to 3 times better cooling than current methods. Many data centers rely on cold plates to prevent GPUs from overheating. Although effective to a degree, the plates are separated from the heat source by several layers of material, which limits their performance. Microsoft Program Manager Sashi Majetti said, "If you're still relying heavily on traditional cold plate technology in 5 years, you're stuck." In microfluidics, the coolant flows closer to the source. The liquid in Microsoft's prototype moves through thread-like channels etched onto the back of the chip. The company also used AI to more efficiently direct the coolant through those channels. Another aspect separating this prototype from previous attempts is that it drew inspiration from Mother Nature. Think the veins of a leaf or a butterfly wing. Microsoft says the technique can reduce the maximum silicon temperature rise inside a GPU by 65%. However, that number depends on the workload and the chip type. Microsoft's Jim Clewine said that would enable overclocking without worrying about melting the chip down. It could allow the company to place servers closer together physically, reducing latency. It would also lead to higher quality waste heat use. Although this sounds good for the environment in a general sense, Microsoft's announcement doesn't lean into that. The blog post primarily discusses the technique's potential for performance and efficiency gains. Green benefits are only alluded to briefly as sustainability and reduced grid stress. Let's hope that's only a case of a cynical observer overanalyzing framing. Our planet needs all the help it can get. Thanks for listening. There's more to these stories and more tech news at Engadget.com. This episode featured journalism from Will Shanklin and Ian Carlos Campbell and was voiced and produced from the sound studios of Spoken Layer by me, Steve White. Enjoy your day, and I'll be back tomorrow with more tech news from Engadget.